Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Eros and I am the Toolmaker. Today we will talk even more about meditation. In this case, on how to fail on meditation. Going on this series, I am taking for granted, of course, that you watched the previous episodes. But now, the title of today's video is how to fail on meditation. This is, of course, a provocation, but with a very important objective. So, the objective of today's lesson is to showcase how to fail and, of course, in consequence, how to avoid mistakes on your practice of meditation. Now, let's begin with the first most common mistake, which is resistance. Let me prove that to you with a very simple and brief exercise that we are going to do right now, and is an exercise that I call the egg meditation. So we are going to close our eyes, slowing down our breath without thinking of an egg. At my count of 3, you will not think of an egg. If you think of an egg, you failed. Then 1, 2, 3, don't think of an egg. Exactly. Now, meditation is not trying not to think. Forcing emptiness is quite the contrary of relaxation. Resisting is completely futile in this practice. It brings you, resisting brings your attention closer to what you're trying not to think of, just like we've just seen. Is pretty much the same instance that we recognize in love and hate. Of course, the vector of the two emotions is completely different, but in both of them, the target of our emotion is always on our minds. Now, let's get to the second major mistake of meditation, which is judging yourself and your practice. To fail really hard on meditation, ask yourself if you're doing it correctly, especially if you're just beginning and don't really even know how a correct practice of meditation is. But to fail spectacularly, you may want to even compare yourself to others. Like if you were able to read their minds and to know their experience, the bliss of their personal, unique soul during the practice of meditation. Knowing that two souls are as different as the Sun and Proxima Centauri. They are both stars, they both emit light, but they are different in everything else. Just like in any other field of your life, you get better at what you practice. So before practicing these techniques, decide if you want to get skilled on meditating and relaxing, or if you want to get skilled on judging and belittling yourself. Then, another great way to fail in meditation is craving the experience of meditation, looking forward to what you want to obtain instead of living the present moment and in the present moment, which is the essence of meditation. To ensure failure, look for transcendence as something you reach, as a door you open, and not as a transformation of the self or a process of becoming. Transcendence, in fact, is exactly that deep inner transformation, and of course, not attachment to your expectation on something that you may not even know yet. So, as a brief recap, to be sure that that you will fail utterly and completely on meditation, you need to first deeply obsess with the experience you placed your expectations on. 2. Resist with all of your strength and all of your might to any thoughts that presents in your mind, instead of letting it flow by. 3. Always remember to judge yourself and your practice, and especially always remember to compare to impossible standards, and ask yourself if you are doing it right, like if there was a right way to practice meditation. All of this instead of actually relaxing. And to completely fail, the fourth point is also remember to start and kickstart your practice with impossible standards, especially standards of timing. Like, try to begin with 1 to 2 hours every day. Now, of course, on the complete opposite side, if you want to have success on your meditation and avoid failure, first, start with reasonable expectation, especially timing expectation. Like, with 5 minutes, aiming to a maximum of 15 daily, and make it a daily ritual. So you want to sit there practicing your meditation even if nothing happens. 2. Remember that starting in meditation is the hardest part. Just like when you want to go to the gym, the hardest part is finding the willpower to actually do that. So try to make your practice of meditation a ritual, a daily ritual, and an habit. Sit down, regardless of the equipment that you may want to use. Just sit down, lower your quota to change your perspective, and spend 5 minutes practicing, regardless of results. And all of this without procrastinating. So, without thinking on what clothes to put on, without spending 2 hours to choose the perfect music for your meditation, or choose the perfect guided meditation for your meditation. If you know one that works for you straight away, just use it. Don't spend 2 hours selecting the music for 5 minutes. 3. Anytime you get lost or distracted during your practice, let go. Simply don't care, and get back to your breath. Don't allow yourself to overthink, because our mind tends to jump from thought to thought, just like a monkey jumps from branch to branch. Taming the mind requires time and effort, especially when you are starting your practice. And 4, maybe the most important point, demystify your idea of meditation. Meditation won't make you a saint or a god. Your actions eventually will, but if you have overly high expectation, remember that in ancient time, the Buddha himself, which I think knows a thing or two about meditation, didn't even had a word to define meditation. Aside from Bhavana, the pronunciation I will mostly show butchered, but Bhavana means development, cultivating, or maybe even producing. And if he took the practice of meditation with this kind of simplicity, we probably should too. Now, of course, as always, I deeply thank you for your kind attention. But remember that during our practice of meditation, we are just in front of an ocean. Even a shallow dive can get us wet on our feet. Of course, in deeper waters lies deeper relaxation, but going there requires starting somewhere and progressing with slow and consecutive steps. May eternal light shine upon you.